The attitude is a part of unspoken language, very well understood by children. Attitudes can be derived from different experiences and as Welcome to Shiksha Sarathi, episode 7, where we continue to talk about the developmental domain of language and literacy. Today, let me start with a language that can effectively be used by a teacher to create a conducive environment that will encourage children to communicate, trust, and feel safe. So, we go right back to our first domain, the personal, social, emotional domain, and the importance of connecting the children to both the verbal and body language. Awareness and a conscious effort in this direction will help us as adults to see progress in children. The eye contact. It can be an important source of comfort or discomfort for the children. So looking at the children right in the eyes to begin with friendly looking eyes and extending it to a sustained eye contact. If you want them to become good communicators, it's very important to make a small gesture like this too. It could be the first route to communication. The voice could be the next step. Talk and communicate with children like you would like them to communicate with you and speak to them like you would speak to just another older person. Remember, the pitch, the speed, and most importantly, the tone you use matters a lot to children. Word and instructions. So, my suggestion would be to use simple and clear instructions. When giving instructions, divide them into short sentences which the children can understand and repeat. Instead of us going on saying the same thing again and again, we should encourage the children to listen, count the number of instructions and repeat them so that we understand what they have understood in which order. And that will make the activity so much easier to do. Now the body language of the adult working with the children. When working with small children, the teachers must be aware that the height and position, if you are like 3 feet above the child and you're really wanting to communicate, it's very difficult to communicate the warmth and caring. So therefore, trying to sit down with the children at their level and talking to them would be a very big help. The next one is the attitude. The attitude is a part of unspoken language, very well understood by children. Attitudes can be derived from different experiences, and as you experience your interaction with children, you will realize that it really makes a difference to actually have the correct attitude of being able to reach out to children and letting them reach you. Now, let's explore the captions, that is the heads under which language and literacy at the foundational level should be developed. So the first word is emergent literacy. Emergent literacy is defined as the skills, knowledge and attitudes that children develop about reading and writing before becoming conventionally fluent readers and writers. So the whole readiness, that is how they're emerging, is actually about leading them to this whole process of formal reading and writing. So strategies that support emergent literacy can include encouraging the children to engage with books, pretend read aloud, storybooks, encouraging children to draw, write, scribble, have a lot of activity around what they are reading, around the books, what they are listening. So also being able to express it physically with an activity. After any session that you do, it could be a game, it could be storytelling, just give them some material in which they can draw, express themselves as to what they've understood. Then creating a print-rich environment in the classroom through the use of print resources, big books, it could be very, very vibrant theme walls which can keep changing regularly with a set of activities. That's a very, very big help for children. Setting up of little reading corners, setting up of writing corners, the art corner, all of this will help the emergent literacy to actually blossom in the classroom. Oral language development is so important at the same time. So improvised listening, comprehension. We just did that in our last episode where there were so many activities related to language development verbally. When you're actually going to lead children to reading, phonics plays an important role. And much before phonics, the phonological and the phonemic awareness, which are verbal activities, and readiness leading to phonics becomes very, very important. For children to do these activities, for teachers to know about them, and for us to understand that phonics could be a very, very new concept for a large number of foundational teachers. So therefore, for deciphering the written word, they will have to learn how to understand that each word is made of sounds and symbols and represented like that. And then the ability to associate the sounds with individual letter and letter combinations, the blending of sounds together to actually read the words, identifying the whole word, being able to count the word in the sentences and so on and so forth, will actually lead the children into literacy and very, very confident reading. Knowing and understanding that printed words are symbols for sounds in a spoken language, seeing the connections between oral words and written language are all very, very important. Functions and forms of print, understanding that writing mostly goes from left to right, unless it is Urdu, then it goes from right to left. Then the fact that a word is followed by a small space, and between those two words we always leave a space. Understanding punctuation, that where does a sentence finish, where does it begin. So all of this becomes a very important part of the child's literacy journey. Reading with comprehension, constructing meaning from a written text which they read is very, very important. They should be able to comprehend it. Fluent reading, that is accurate, automatic recognition of words and reading with expression. Now, the reading strategies. So read aloud. The teacher reads aloud for the children to listen, and it's well chosen literature, not just textbooks but different literature books. Then comes the next concept of shared reading, where the teacher chooses text with large print which is visible from a distance and encourages the children to read along with as the teacher is flipping the pages. Then you have guided reading, where the responsibility for the reading shifts from the teacher to the child. So maybe you have small slips that you start with where you place in front of the children and you encourage them to try and read, and many times it could be parts of what they have already done before. So whatever they have done as shared reading can become printed and given to them for guided reading, and then leading them to independent reading, where children must be given an opportunity to read independently, choose from books. Therefore, that small reading space in library where appropriate material is put up for the child to actually get up and explore. Developing the desire or a habit of reading, engaging with a wide variety of books and reading material is so important. And then comes the writing. So look at the journey from the readiness to the activities to the verbal skills, the readiness for reading, and then coming to the writing. So therefore, this blind transcription that we keep making children do must not really be the way the children learn. The process has to be very, very systematically taken forward. So the ability to write the letters, then the words, then putting them in sentences and so on. So for that, it's model writing, where the teachers need to model the writing process for young children who are learning how to write. So perhaps the formations, the direction of the letters, how to move their fingers, and so on and so forth. Then you have shared writing, like shared reading, writing in a more collaborative process where the teacher can assist and guide the children step by step and actually be with them. And then you have the guided writing. While free writing by children is desirable, it doesn't emerge on its own. So we have to give small tasks to children and then lead them to independent and free writing. So when the guided writing is a very important part between the beginning and the independent writing, because that's the time when the child is taking ownership of writing. So very systematic activities in a very comfortable fashion must be given to the children. And independent writing is a time when children can start writing on their own and writing with comprehension and understanding. That's the key word. So we end our session today and we will see you in the next episode. We will consolidate more thoughts, more ideas, and we would be so happy if you can actually communicate with us that these sessions, these episodes that we are doing with you, how are they helping you and how we can make them better. Thank you. Namaskar.
Square, square, panda.